Good evening. I'm just making a video today because quota. So I hope everyone's doing well today. Vibes. I'm really trying to stop saying that though, because I've been saying that for like years, right? And it's low key played out, but it's like not. It's not technically. I don't know. You can have a resurgence of certain vibes in a newer demographic after some time has passed. So hey, um, I have no idea why I just paused. But anyways, here's a rant. So I was on TikTok, right? Right. And just all social media apps in general. And it's a lot of beef with the older generations. And I don't know when this started, but like, okay. Um, and we're very, very hard on the older generation, which in certain instances, rightfully so. Especially when it comes to interacting and downplaying the younger generation and just sort of minimizing certain needs that we have. However, honestly, we could be a lot more empathetic if we look at things when it comes to the big picture, especially when it comes to changes over time, how our environment, economy, and just the systems that we run by have changed, and how they're vastly different than they were just 30 years ago, and how it must be difficult for these people, especially if we joke about how they aren't getting certain things technology wise, and how it seemed like there was a general census that we're sort of keeping to ourselves and not necessarily being helpful to the society around us. Which, respectfully, what would you expect if everything about you is sort of criticized, misunderstood, and or not scrutinized, but also vilified and or crucified? There we go. There's the word. Um, Jesus has been trending lately. Anyways, and there's been like so many more Jesus memes, but then they're like actually hitting though. There's like there's a nun. She's like, I'm been a nasty girl. I've been an. Anyways, um, but yeah, but we could be more helpful, but we could use a lot more understanding. And the internet culture doesn't necessarily give a good lens for understanding for the younger generations, between the younger and the older generations, especially with all this shifting economy stuff and a lot of the shifting workplace culture, especially since a lot of the workplace culture now is influenced by the internet and people's perception of what work is and how it's supposed to be a part of their life and like intertwined with it is changing. I mean, it's been changing for a while, but with different sources of income, with different shifts in like work style just due to COVID, and just due to how everything has shifted, how everything since COVID has sort of shifted in sort of an unbalanced and unstable territory when it comes to like establishing like a concrete status quo going forward in general. And like Gen Z, for example, or a generation that consistently feel like they're in flux. And that's not necessarily good, especially since these are the years when they're building their baseline so they can have their solid foundation to like, grow off of, right? Right. And the clash between them and like the older generations, especially at work or just socially, it's really annoying because everybody doesn't understand how hard it is for everyone else. And you can sort of feel like you might be getting not necessarily left behind, but getting the short end of the stick if you're upholding these certain key aspects of society, yet you have your not predecessors. Predecessors? No. Whoever is coming next to you, you have the newer gen, right? That's sort of elevating in one way, catapulting in one way while you're struggling, and sort of leaving you behind by centering their energies in a isolated space and not helping with the grander scheme. So I can understand how that might be frustrating. However, when that help is granted, or not granted because like we're existing, but like when the interest is granted, it has to be met with respect, or people are going to get back into themselves because then it's just like, Why are we trying to fit into an environment that wants to bring us down instead of just simply understanding and working with? So that's why there's a lot of different spaces. That's why a lot of people within these generations sort of keep to themselves, why they have very black and white opinions. Like on TikTok, everybody's just like, "Oh, the generation doesn't don't know how to do anything," which is not true. Especially when it comes to systems that are sort of bigger or more obscure, but part of our daily lives that we don't necessarily think of just simply due to lack of experience. Certain things you do only learn with time. And especially if, like, for example, I thought that my ex was just like vibing and working during COVID because I'm like, oh, he's a career man. He's fine. But no, because while everything was going to shit, his age group was basically there trying to hold everything together. And you think it's just like, oh, they're just doing a consistent thing. No, it's harder to be a pillar when things are shit. You would think it would be fine because you only have to sustain that one thing. But there's all these little details that help with that and help make that stable. And the details and the details in the bigger picture comes from all groups. So when one is uninterested, well, that might affect others. Yes. Are they respectful about it? No. Can it be toxic sometimes? Yes. And does it feel like you may just be extracted for what you're good for, but then still handled with the same amount of respect, with the same low amount of respect that you were fighting to like get past? Maybe. And that is a conversation that needs to be had, in my opinion. But um, yeah, it's like still though we time tells and life is hard. So we could really let up. Besides that's one of the things that does make us as a generation just seem like a bunch of bratty kids. Is if we're like I'm sitting on the internet at my big age bitching about how like 40-year-olds are mean. Are you kidding me? Like like how we say, oh, they wouldn't be able to do our interview process, was just basically normal now with all the questions and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, that's true. That's true. Maybe have some empathy. Maybe things have moved too fast to where certain processes or certain needs have shot past them on the natural scale of like necessity and like the one of the original layouts for like human development and society and your relation to work and stuff like that. That has shifted. That's catapulted over the years. So it's kind of like, well, you know what? Maybe they are in a tough spot and things they need more empathy from the younger generation. And of course they're not going to know how to communicate that. We can't say that people have mindsets from the 90s, 80s or whatever that people are this way but then get surprised when they are still that way even after being introduced to other things. Like they're not going to be perfectly politically correct and we already know that, but there's still people that are usually something for us to rely on and usually something that actually pro- like supports things in our culture and in our community and in our society as a whole that are key aspects of it that enrich or just simply a part of everyone's lives. What I'm saying is, why are the young and old people fighting? This is fucking stupid. Okay? It's tough out here for everybody. Okay? Let's just all have a little bit more empathy. Thanks.